Disaster that was, and that is the Green Bay Packers just getting shellacked in many different ways by the Minnesota Vikings. Just an ugly game. Ugly start to the season for the Green Bay Packers, 23-7 as things wound down. And I'll tell you what, I think Justin Jefferson just scored again. Just a bad day at the office, man. Bad day at the office for the Green Bay Packers defensively. All that Eric Stokes was last year, he was not today. They were picking on him quite a bit, as a matter of fact. They matched up Darnell Savage Jr. with Jefferson at one point. They got the matchup they wanted. It just not a great situation, not a great day by any stretch. So welcome to our first edition of the Green and Gold Postgame Show. We are glad you're with us. Again, the Green and Gold Postgame Show coming to you live from the Ewing Hotel here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And it's time. It's time to start getting your phone calls. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670 throughout the great state of Wisconsin and beyond the borders. What started off as a somewhat promising day, it just kind of felt good today. Now, I will admit, I picked the Packers to lose this game. You know that. If you've been listening to the program, you know that. But I thought, you know what? They came out. There was some energy. There was some spark. It just felt like today, and I was watching Mason Crosby in warm-ups today, and he was kicking 45 to 50 yarders. Not much of a problem, So I sat there and thought, okay, this would not be a bad day if Mason Crosby's back and things are good. And then obviously we find out that numerous players for the Packers were not starting. Alan Lazard out, David Bakhtiari. And I'll tell you this, I know they kept saying, hey, yeah, it's day to day, but there was a lot of indication that David Bakhtiari would be back for game one. And Mike Clemens and I, when we did the not the podcast, we did the huddle. We were out at Wisconsin State Fair Park just a couple of weeks ago, and Mike said, "I'm telling you, they're not going to play. I just, you just knowing the Green Bay Packers, they're not going to play." And sure enough, you get up this morning and you start to get some texts and tweets and stuff, and all of a sudden you look at your phone and you're like, "Yep, it's exactly what we thought." No David Bakhtiari, no Elton Jenkins. The defense that was so vaunted coming into this game, they did everything they could. Unfortunately, I don't know why it took Joe Barry so long to finally say, hey, you know what? Why don't we just put Jair on Justin Jefferson and then maybe give him a little help? Maybe. Maybe. But they just kept sticking Jair on one side of the field and Stokes and anybody else on the opposite side of the field. So, it's a game. Last year they started off ugly. We all know that. Last year all the excuses were made. But this year, no Devontae Adams. You had young guys in the wide receiving core. Christian Watson is going to forever remember the first play of his NFL career as a pass that was beautifully thrown. It was dropped into the basket. He had 3.5 yards on the defender, and he just flat out, and it would have been a huge momentum swing in favor of the Green Bay Packers after witnessing the Vikings and Justin Jefferson basically just dice up that Packers defense and march right down the field. It would have been terrific, but it was just not to be. The ball falls short. Not short, but falls through his hands, and the Packers come up short, and nothing else matters after that. So, anyway, a lot to get to today. We are going to join the network. I know many of you listening in Madison and over on the Bud Light live stream. I promise we're going to get to you. I want to get all your opinions today. If you follow me on Twitter, I put it out there at halftime. I'm like, what are you thinking right now? At halftime? What were you thinking? What thoughts came to mind? And oh my God, the myriad of thoughts that began to come to mind.
58, go!
There we go.
319. 399, touch!
This is the Green and Gold Postgame Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Green Bay Packers open up the 2022-2023 season. Disappointing. I don't know how else to put it. It was a flat, It was a frustrating, it was a got manhandled moment, and the Packers fall to the Minnesota Vikings. And game one is now in the books. 16 more to go. 23-7, the final at U.S. Bank Stadium. If you follow me on Twitter, if you follow me on Facebook, you heard me during the horn session. I hate that horn. I just do. I hate that horn. Beautiful stadium. It's great to work in. It's an unbelievable place for fans, for home team fans. But for the most part, I can't stand the horn. I can't stand the drum, and it just drove me crazy today. Today, Justin Jefferson. He's the story. 11 catches, 11 targets, 9 catches today, 184 yards, a new team record. By the way, 2 touchdowns, his longest being a 64-yard down the sideline gallop before being pushed out of bounds. And just an ugly day today. Aaron Jones, 5 carries, 49 yards. A.J. Dillon, 10 carries, 45 yards. Rodgers today, just not good. 22 of 34, 195 yards, and a pick. And why he threw that thing up just before half, I have no idea. I mean, I guess you want to go to Randall Cobb. You want to give him an opportunity, but come on. It's Randall Cobb. And the injuries today, if I can read you the injury report real quick, let's get into that while we're sitting here because, oh, my goodness, not a great day today. So, Keyshawn Nixon, a shoulder issue. We saw him go into the blue tent right after he made that big hit. Ended up going into the blue tent, came out. He was questionable to even come back. Quay Walker, same thing, shoulder issue. Now, when Quay Walker, I was watching because Nixon was waiting to go into the tent. Walker was actually in the tent, and then they waited for Walker to come out so Nixon could go in. Walker came out and was asking for his helmet. They took his helmet from him. So he was not going to return in that ball game. Now, I ended up getting out of there just after the beginning of the fourth quarter. So I don't know if they ended up grabbing him a helmet or not, but regardless, he was injured. Chris Barnes carted off the field in a cast, boot on the right foot / and or ankle, depending on how, that goes. And then guard John Runyon, he was concussed, and he was out of this game. And it was, where do you start? 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, 877-867-1670. So, by the way, Jake Hansen got his ass handed to him today on the offensive line. Not a good day there. You also had Stokes, who looked so good last year. Everybody said, no big deal. You got Stokes. He got it handed to him today. He looked bad. Darnell Savage Jr. got matched up on Justin Jefferson once. He got burned. Adrian Amos in the end zone. At least Amos got him out of the end zone and held on, even though it was going to be a catch, but it was a non-catch because he couldn't bring the other foot down. But Adrian Amos hanging on. It was the Justin Jefferson show, hands down. Today, when you look at this team, the Green Bay Packers, defensively speaking, were not terrible. They got off the field on third down, 4 for 13. That's all Minnesota was. The Packers, 3 for 9. And Minnesota racked up just a titch under 400 yards, 395 yards. Both teams ran 61 plays. The average gain was just over a yard for the Minnesota Vikings, 6.5 versus 5.5 for the Green Bay Packers. The big thing, though, when you talk about turnovers, Packers with a couple of turnovers. You're not going to win the game when you turn the ball over. The fumble, obviously, Aaron Rodgers got smashed. I thought it was a little ironic. He was on the sideline. I was watching through the binoculars. He was over there kind of getting himself back together after just getting crushed on that sack, and he's drinking purple Gatorade. But it's one game. It's one game. I know some people hit me up today because I hashtag no need for preseason. And they said, well, the Vikings did neither. The Vikings had Justin Jefferson, Christian Darrisaw, KJ Osborne. They have got Adam Thielen. They traded for Rager, so he is new. But everybody else, short of a couple changes on the offensive line, all the weaponry is the same. You still got Dalvin Cook. You still got Alexander Madison. Same quarterback. They don't need it. They're all there. What I was saying was, with Aaron Rodgers, there was no synchronicity. There was none of that. There was no familiarity. He was looking. You could see his head. He was bobbing. He was looking for somebody to get open, and Cobb wasn't. Cobb gets open on scrambles. I've said that all along. Cobb's a decent slot guy if you scheme for him, but for the most part, no. Cobb is your comeback guy. Cobb is your, hey, I got your back, Aaron. I know where to go, Aaron. Then you're looking at Dubs. Then you're looking at Christian Watson. Then you're looking in that direction. No Samori Toure, a healthy scratch today. Tanyan got a catch today, so that was decent. He got actually 3 of them, I think, as a matter of fact, if I counted correctly. He got into the mix a little bit. But A.J. Dillon, Romeo Doubs were your 2 highest receivers. Christian Watson, 2 catches. 2 catches. Josiah DeGuara had a couple of them today. Aaron Jones had a couple of them out of the backfield. Sammy Watkins finally got into the mix. Sammy Watkins was on the sideline. Rodgers was just pissed off. I'm watching him through the binoculars. Rodgers is over there, arms folded, towel around the neck, the whole thing. Watkins is kind of tapping him, kind of, come on, we got this, come on. And Rodgers wanted nothing to do with any interaction with anybody on the sideline today. So it was just, after they started getting whooped up on, it was just as if they had a little bit of fight, but didn't have a lot of answers. If that makes sense. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Tons of people chiming in. So I want to try to get to everybody, but this is the Green Gold Postgame Show. Mike says we're lucky if we can at least score 21 at some point. Maybe show up for the OTAs, A-Raj. Get familiar with your guys. That's from Christopher. Phil says, how about the Bears? They beat the 49ers. Tons of close upsets. And one Green Bay ass-kicking. Phil says he enjoyed it because he's not obviously a Packers fan. Mark Murphy is to blame for all this crap going on and needs to be fired. Rob, why is Mark Murphy to blame for all of this? That I have no idea. Mark Murphy didn't hold anything up. He didn't do any of that. Rodgers needs to step up and be a leader. That's from Brett. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones came to play. We need to run it more. That's from Rick. Where was Amari Rodgers on offense? Ghosted. He was a returner. He's relegated to a returner. That's it. Keep going back. Cobb's strictly a guy to get open in zones. If we can't count on him as a veteran, when we need a veteran right now, he should be gone. Run the damn ball. That's from Tim. How many rookie receivers? Well, you only had 2 today because Samori Toure was not on the field. He was a healthy scratch, so you had 2 of them. You had Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. Sammy Watkins is on the team, Scotty. He ended up with 3 catches on the day. Mike says Green Bay paid 1 guy and lost the rest. They didn't lose the rest. They lost the best. And let's say this, okay? Let's do this real quick because this is where everybody's going with this, okay? So Aaron Rodgers took time to decide what he wanted to do. The Packers didn't know what they were going to do because they were basically being held up by Aaron's decision. In the meantime, the Packers could not deal with Davante Adams because Adams had a certain number they wanted that he wanted. Packers didn't know if they could reach it because they didn't know what they were going to have. Okay, you follow me so far? Because they didn't know what the salary cap ramification was going to be. So they waited and waited. Rodgers waited and waited. And in the meantime, Rodgers relayed the message to Davante that, I don't know if this is going to be my last year, maybe 1 more year, maybe 2 more years. Davante's like, whoa, wait a minute. That's great if they want to pay me, but I'm on my way to a gold jacket. I don't want all of a sudden have my numbers go down. He said it. Don't forget, he said it when he ended up leaving Green Bay, he said it in his presser. He said, I love Jordan, but the minute he said but, and then he stopped. He stopped short of going, he ain't the guy. So Rodgers held things up. Packers couldn't pay anybody else big money because they needed to know what Rodgers was going to be making. You needed to find that out. You needed to get him signed. And then after they did, then they could go ahead and make the offer to Davante Adams. But by then, Davante Adams realized that Rodgers wasn't going to be around long, so therefore he didn't want to sign a really long-term deal in Green Bay. Why? Because if Rodgers leaves or goes down, nobody to back him up. He's not going to get the money. He's not going to get the gold jacket. He's not going to get the numbers to get him the gold jacket. So that's what happened. That has nothing to do with Mark Murphy. That has nothing to do with Brian Gutekunst, other than the fact that Gutekunst and company maybe could have gone to Davante a year ago and said, this is what we want to do. You know? So things can change because obviously you're missing your offensive lineman and David Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins. And I had mentioned today, it was a tough go. It was a tough go because Jake Hansen did not look good. Excuse me. And then Josh Nijman struggled today. The bookends, Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith, they were beasts. Everything we saw in Green Bay when he was matched up with Preston was what came to fruition today. He was ready to go. I don't know if you saw the introduction, but him and Danielle Hunter got introduced together running out of that giant pirate ship. And they were just revving the crowd. They were doing the eat thing. They were doing some kind of dance together. They were just pointed for this game. If you weren't there, I don't know if they showed it on Fox or not, but they were ready to go. So anyway, broadcasting live here at the Ewing Hotel. We are in downtown Minneapolis, about, I don't know, stone's throw away from US Bank Stadium. Let's get to the phone calls. First one out of the chute. Joe, welcome to the program. What you thinking tonight, man? What's going on?
Hey, Bill. What's up, man? How's it going? Well, I'm thinking, I got a few things in my mind, but remember last year they got their asses handed to them by the Saints, and we all looked and were like, what the heck was that? And obviously they were fine. They do this. They always start slow. They even did it under McCarthy. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just if Rodgers has to, if he's part of that. I don't know what it is. So it's not like it's a surprise that they lost today. I think what surprised me today, what I was so disappointed in, was the offensive line play and the defense. We had such high expectations for this defense, and this defense looked utterly confused and lost. Coach Barry and Coach LaFleur got completely out-coached. There was plays where Savage was yelling at others in the secondary after Jefferson would catch a pass. That can't happen. I'm sorry. That's inexcusable.
Right.
You got all the talent like you in that back end with Stokes and everybody. I'm sorry. That's inexcusable.
Yep.
And I know that it's hard to play man up in the NFL and things like that, but there is no reason why Jair was not following everywhere Jefferson went. Jefferson goes in motion, you go in motion.
Couldn't understand why they didn't put Jair in them. I don't know why they just chose to stay on each side of the field. I completely agree. Mike Clemens and I are sitting there going, what the hell? He's burning everybody, and your best cover corner is sitting there guarding a tight end on one play. I couldn't figure it out.
Exactly. And then the other piece on the other side of the ball was Jake Hansen. When they said he was starting, I was like, what the hell was he starting for? Why was Zach Tom not starting?
Yeah.
And I get it. Zach Tom's a rookie, but Zach Tom has looked good in camp and everything like that. Jake Hansen's just been a guy. He's never been that. He's never been that good. And what happened when they put Zach Tom in? What happens? Green Bay just starts ripping and ripping off run after run after run after run. So I just think that the coaching overthought themselves. I'm not panicking. I'm really not. It's one game. Quay Walker, I want to give him massive props. That dude showed up today.
He loves to hit, but he's got to get guys over the middle and not get them 5 yards downfield. I mean, he's a hitter, and I agree with you, but he had a lot of plays downfield that he could have caught up in front of him. But I agree with you. He loves to get to the play. And I'll tell you this is the first time you've looked at a linebacker like that and went, that's sideline to sideline, because he is everywhere and got incredible speed.
Yeah. So I'm not panicked, but if they go 1-4, 1-5, I'm panicking. But I'm not panicking yet.
And the Bears,
it's one game, just like last year.
And the Bears look decent in that slop down there in Chicago today, too. I give them all the credit in the world for knocking off the 49ers, man. Joe, appreciate it as always, pal. Talk to you soon. He drops off. You get on board, 877-867-1670. Josh is listening to us in Holman. Josh, welcome to the program and the Green and Gold Postgame Show. What's up?
Well, obviously, very disgusted from today's game. You expect a little bit more cohesion between the team at this point. Do we blame Aaron Rodgers for not coming in earlier to work with these young rookies? But you have that first play of the game, just devastating. It goes through the hands, which you think could have been a game changer. We sat there, my wife and I, just like, oh my God. Normally, years past, you had some quality, wide receivers that could help us get out of these tight predicaments. This day, though, you're just like, oh my God, Rodgers really has nobody to depend on, really. It's going to be a long season. You have been our therapist, so thank you for that, Bill. And thoughts on how do we get better?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, appreciate the phone call. Let's do this. Let's step away. We'll take a quick break real quick, and we got a ton of people on the live stream, and I want to acknowledge everybody. Keep hitting us up, and I'll try to continually scroll back and get all your comments, okay? Over in the Bud Light live stream, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitch, if you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching on Twitter, whatever it happens to be, if you're watching, we'll try to get to that coming up here shortly. I'll get back to how they can get better. I think it's a fair question. How they can get better. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Green and Gold postgame show live in Minneapolis. We're at the Ewing Hotel. Beautiful hotel. If you've ever been to Milwaukee and you've seen, say, the Iron Horse Hotel, kind of the same thing. Beautiful hotel here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, only a couple of blocks away from U.S. Bank Stadium. Stay tuned. Got a lot more of the Green and Gold postgame show coming up next.
Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you. Oh, my goodness. I got an email for you. Hang in there. Hang in there. This portion of the program being brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network, and also our Green and Gold postgame show. Glad to have Bud Light along for the ride, as always. Now, sit back for just a second. Bear with me here. Andrew listening to us in Green Bay. He said, first unit, can't wait for tomorrow on WDUZ. Finally, glad to get you back here in the Fox Valley. He said, what we have here is a quarterback who cares more about cleaning his colon than bonding with his receivers. Okay, now I'm rolling my eyes a little bit, but bear with me, okay? He says, yeah, Cobby coached him up real good, right, Aaron? How about you run LaFleur's GD offense, quit worrying about 100 fake-ass hands all over your body, use a few of those hands to pull your head out of your ass, and be a real leader. Be a better quarterback when the young guys need you. Leaders lead. They don't turn the reins over to Cobby. There, I vented. Thank you so much. Can't wait for tomorrow. That's Andrew in Green Bay. Wow! Woo! Coming out smoking. People not happy today. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout if you choose to do so. The Bad Guy TV says, Rodgers, best way to describe this game for the Packers. They were soft all the way around. Decent game for Dylan. Rodgers, Campbell. He goes on to say that Jerron Reed was the best player today for the Green Bay Packers. Also, he says, I completely agree with Andrew. Jeffrey says leadership was missing. Jim says, good comment. Rodgers' leadership, lukewarm at best. Let's get back to the phone calls and those that are hanging on hold. And we appreciate everybody giving us a buzz. We got to get to everything we possibly can. Let's go to Gerard. Gerard, what's going on tonight, man? How you feeling?
Hey, Bill. Look, Olsen, I thought, did a great job analyzing the Packers' defense, how they were out of position, how the defensive line was given so big a gaps, it would be impossible for the linebackers to fill those gaps. And it's amazing how they looked. It looks like they never played Minnesota with those players before. Mm-hmm. It looks like the first time they've ever played these guys. Well, let me ask you a question. On one crossing pattern, there was one of the receivers on Minnesota. He was covered tightly. And Alexander went with him, and that left Jefferson wide open.
Right.
Remember that play?
I do.
And why did Alexander do this? And then at the end of the game, they finally put Alexander in the slot that covered Jefferson. Now, this was basically when the game was over. So, again, Olsen brought it up again. Well, you know, the playing inside for a corner is a tough position. And he went on, to say why. But, I mean, like you said, why isn't this guy following Jefferson around?
Don't know.
How many games does he have to kill the Packers before that? And you could blame Savage, but Savage, no way, shape, or form is going to be able to cover Jefferson out in the middle of the field all alone. I mean, that's just a plain joke.
No, they ran a crossing pattern with him, and Savage ended up being the guy that took the zone. And why they didn't keep Jair on him. And the play you're talking about is when they ran Adam Thielen across the middle, and all of a sudden Jefferson sprung wide. And I don't know why they were switching off. I just would have left Jair on Jefferson and called it a day.
They double covered Thielen, Bill. They double covered him across the middle. Alexander had the chance to cross and go with Jefferson, and he stayed with Thielen. So they double covered Thielen. It made no sense. I mean, what are they going to a game plan and say, well, Jefferson's not going to hurt us this time? Mm-hmm. What sense does this stuff make? It's the same stuff, though, over and over and over again now.
Well,
this is the problem.
Even late in the game, they did the same thing with KJ Osborne on a crossing pattern where Jefferson got open. And that one time, I will say, though, that's when Jair stayed with Jefferson and they went to KJ Osborne, who I think picked up like 7 yards on the pass. But that particular play, Jair finally stuck with him. And I kept thinking to myself, why didn't you do that earlier?
You see, this is where the reporters that go into the locker room have to say, and I don't want to hear, well, he's a great player. Well, you're supposed to have a cornerback that you just made one of the highest paid corners in the league.
Yep.
Supposed to be following this guy. Why isn't he on him? Or, well, they put him in motion. Well, why didn't he follow him when he was put in motion?
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
And Olsen said during the game that motion was killing the Packers.
Yep.
on defense. Well, they don't make adjustments either.
And tell me this: they didn't really run Matt LaFleur's offense so late in the game when they started grinding the ball in the second half.
Exactly. Why didn't they just do the dump offs and run the ball? Why they know that they can control the clock, keep Cousins and Jefferson off the field, throw the short dump offs and make it work? But no, this guy's got to be the prima donna and have to be the star and start throwing the ball all over the place. And you know what it's all.
Well, I mean, also you look at his numbers at halftime. His numbers at halftime were horrific, and I guarantee he knows what his numbers were. They were awful. Kirk Cousins, I don't know. He was like 9 of 10 for 80 yards and the touchdown, and he was looking good. Rodgers was like 1 of 6 at one point for 8 yards or 10 yards or something, and an interception. It was terrible.
But and you know what? You know what's amazing? He really, I like him. I'm a Packer fan since '64 when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
Look, he always comes off selfish. He really does.
Mm-hmm.
It's so unbelievable. I want to like the guy. I really do.
It's the same selfishness that makes him great because he believes he can. But when it fails, I think if he goes to the podium and says, you know what, I really screwed this thing up. I thought I could do this. Then I think you give him a pass. But when we've seen so many fingers pointed and so many people covering up crap that we all can see, that's when I think it becomes almost, hey, you're too arrogant for your own good. Appreciate the phone call, man.
Right.
Thanks as always. I got to run here because we're at the top of the hour.
Thank you, Bill.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. Got everybody over on the Bud Light live stream, man, chiming in. Donna says, I'm just a little bummed out. Zedarius spelling didn't get knocked on his ass. He did knock Rodgers down, but I did like the fact that Rodgers got up and kind of high stepped it over to him and did a little jaw jacking with him. I don't know if they showed that on TV or not, but I was watching, and it was funny because Rodgers, when he went to get back up, I thought, oh my God, did he get hit? He just kind of stumbled a little bit. He looked like he was like a baby deer trying to get up, and then finally when he did get up, he went over and kind of gave a little back and forth to Z, and I don't know if it was friendly or not. I couldn't tell. I don't know if Zedarius looked at him like, get away from me, I could knock you out, or he was just kind of smiling and jaw jacking a little bit. I'd be really interested to see what was actually said, but that little moment in time I thought was I'll call it entertaining. Might be the best way to put it. I'll call it entertaining. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, do it. Hit us up. We'd love to have you. If you want to chime in on the Bud Light live stream, if you follow us on Twitter, if you follow us on Twitch, if you follow us on YouTube, subscribe over on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. We're going to have all the numbers, all the stats for you coming up here in just a few. And then got Matt LaFleur coming up right here after the top of the hour as well. Going to hear from the head coach and get his thoughts on all of this. So hang in there. You on the Bud Light live stream, you watching the program right now, you listening to the program in parts unknown. We're glad you're on board. It sucks they lost, but we're back. It is the Green and Gold postgame show. Happy to be here, broadcasting live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Ewing Hotel. Beautiful place. If you get a chance to stop in and stay a night here, it's a really nice, restored old building. Really, really cool deal here in Minneapolis. Stay tuned. Got a lot more of the Green and Gold postgame show coming up right after this.
Want to make your summer even better? Potawatomi Hotel and Casino has 500,000 ways, like winning your share of $500,000 in cash and prizes. Over 100 winners every Thursday. For your chance to win, just play with your club card July 1st through the 28th. So go ahead, book that beach vacation, that up north cottage getaway, or make it a staycation to remember. Your summer just got even better. Only at Potawatomi.
words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others, time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Blue 58, go! Green 18, Green 99, touch!
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Welcome back. As you can see on the Bud Light live stream, we are downtown Minneapolis. Only a few blocks away from U.S. Bank Stadium, the site where the Packers fall in ugly fashion, 23-7. They get knocked off by the Vikings. Bears win today. Vikings win today, but both the Packers and the Lions lost. So at least the Packers are not cellar dwellers all by themselves. Boy, the Bears got to win in just torrential rains. They may have to move this week to Arlington because they may not have much field left. Man, that thing was just chewed up. It was a swamp. Holy mackerel. But the Green Bay Packers, in so many different facets, it was ugly. It was a soft offensive line. Jake Hansen did not look good. A tremendous pass rush and constant pressure put on Aaron Rodgers by the bookends of the Minnesota Vikings. The wide receivers just today are rather pedestrian. Your security blanket in Davante Adams is gone. And we knew it was going to be a struggle. I did not think it would be this big of a struggle, but it is. The run game was not really going. Aaron Jones, by the way, only 6 touches. Was it 8 touches, I think, today? Total on the day, I think it was 5 carries and 5 carries, not 6 carries, 5 carries, 3 catches, targeted 5 times. Had a total of, 76 yards today, I think. Sammy Watkins, 3 catches. A.J. Dillon had the most catches today and the most yardage. 5 catches, 46 yards. The longest pass play of the day was 25 yards to Christian Watson. Now, obviously, that first play of the game would have been so much better, but it fell through his hands. He was targeted 4 times today, caught 2. Josiah Aguero, 2 for 2 today, 28 yards total, but nothing today. And they spread the ball out, 338 yards total in that offense, but just nothing that could get this team on track. Time of possession, 31-23 in favor of Minnesota, 28-37 for the Green Bay Packers, but 2 turnovers, the interception. That didn't really hurt you too much, but obviously the fumble did, and they were able to turn it into points, so not a great day at the office for the Green Bay Packers. 877-867-1670. Everybody on the Bud Light live stream, I'm going to get to you, I promise. Matt LaFleur at the podium. Let's take a listen to what he has to say after this debacle.
You definitely have to have a better plan for our team and get our guys better prepared. Certainly give the Minnesota Vikings a ton of credit. They came ready to play. They obviously had a great plan. And, we knew going into this game that stopping their lead dogs really offensively and defensively were going to be an important part of it. And certainly we didn't get that done. Anytime Jefferson has almost 200 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns, and then on the other side, I think they have 4 sacks or whatever. And so didn't stop their big time playmakers and allow them to make big time plays. And if you do that, you're not going to win very many games in this league. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily always work that way in terms of if you just commit to playing man coverage the whole game, sure, you could do it. but they do a nice job of putting them in different positions, whether it's in the slot, whether it's motioning. It seemed like he was in motion quite a bit, just moving him all over the place. And, you got to give him credit. They put him in premier spots and attacked our coverage well. And certainly we had a couple blown coverages as well where we're cutting them loose. And if there's anybody you don't want to cut loose, it's number 18. So we'll go back. We'll look at the tape. Obviously, again, we have to coach so much better. This is 2 years in a row where we've come out week one and have not looked prepared. So I think all of us will look inward and we'll make the necessary corrections, because there's no time to feel sorry for yourself in this league. And we know we're going to battle a Chicago Bears team that's going to be coming in flying high off a big time upset of the 49ers.
How much did Christian Watson drop on the first play, then the fourth down stop change the tenor of the game?
Yeah, certainly those are plays you definitely want back. But those happen in this league, and you got to capitalize when you get those opportunities. And we didn't, but to say that play or the goal line stand made the difference, I think that's unfair to say.
Did you have that first play back?
I actually thought about it, I want to say yesterday or 2 days ago, and just wanted to showcase his speed, and he certainly ran pretty fast on that play, and we just got to finish the play.
When did you know that you weren't going to have Dave and Elton? And I guess how much does that complicate your play calling when you're not quite having your career guys at those spots against their career guys?
Yeah, no, like we said all along, Dave and Elton are doing everything they can do, and our day to day. But certainly it does put a little bit of strain, but that's not an excuse. I mean, we gotta adapt, we gotta adjust. So we obviously didn't do that, and we got to be better.
What type of impact did Zadarius have on the game?
Well, I think it had a tremendous impact. He had a critical sack fumble. He had another sack on a third down, and we knew Z was going to be amped up and ready to go, and he's a great player. We got to witness that firsthand for a couple of years, and he made a huge impact in our football team and in our ability to win games. So he's a guy that you got to account for on every play, and it does make it tough when there's two creatures out there that are pretty good. And give them credit. They had a great scheme. They weren't going to try to give up big plays. They definitely kept a lid on top of us for the most part. And when you do that and you're trying to throw some big time plays, that allows sometimes the pass rushers to hit home.
It seemed like one of the areas your offense had success was on the ground. I think there were 6 yards of carry, and that's just going on early after the game, not having more opportunities. That's something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think anytime Aaron Jones comes out of the game with 8 touches, that's not good enough. And A.J. Dillon, he have 10 or so? That's not good enough.
After what you saw from the defense all camp long, were you surprised by today's performance in any way?
Yeah, I would say so, but you also got to give Minnesota a lot of credit. We knew that, they've got some really good players. Starting with the offensive line, I don't think they get the credit they deserve. I think that, everybody knows about the 2 receivers. Irv Smith's a hell of a tight end, and you got Delvin Cook and Madison to worry about in the backfield. And Kirk has been playing at a high level for a really long time in this league. So that is on paper. And then they went out there and executed. That's a really good offense. I got a lot of respect for Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips in terms of their ability to coach. And I know where they come from. And I know they're really great coaches, and that can be a deadly combination.
Well, what Dave said about the defense on the offensive side, there has been some inconsistency from what we at least saw training camp. Is any surprises that was kind of the case today a little bit?
Yeah, no, I mean, you never want to go out there in a football game and put up that kind of a performance. So we got to look at the plan that we had, making sure that we're putting our players in a good position. And I think we just talked about it in terms of A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, how important they are to our football team. We got to get them more involved. whether it's in the run game, pass game, however it may be. But we got to lean on those guys.
What happened on that 4th and goal to 1? I obviously Zajarius came down, but was there anything else that played on that one?
Yeah, it was an RPO zone read type play, and they did a nice job defending the pass portion of it, and we gave it, and Z did a good job crashing, and he's unblocked on that play, and he made the play.
Line on that play on 3rd down, if you really get to this point, you're taking the place of the
Yeah, no, that's something that we were talking about prior to the 4th down play, is if we got inside the 3-yard line that we were gonna go for it. And we had a couple different plays dialed up. Certainly wish I would have called one of the other ones, but didn't. And we got to learn from it, and we got to be better, because that was something that has definitely hindered us. If you're looking back at, in the past to last season as well, where we're not finishing in the red zone. So obviously got to do a better job of putting our guys in better position.
Thank you, guys. There you go. That was Matt LaFleur as he talked about, all the shortcomings of the Green Bay Packers and what the problems were. So, the fact that he said, look, we got to coach better. I like the fact that right away he said we looked unprepared. We didn't look like we were prepared. We didn't look like we had any tenacity, any preparation. We looked like kind of the same way they ended the season. They went out very quietly, didn't have that overall team passion. There were some guys that played their asses off, but didn't have that overall team passion, and it just looked relatively lethargic and bad. The way the Green Bay Packers went, just in case you're wondering, their drives in the first half, punt, then the 4th and goal, they gave it up, punt, interception. They only touched the ball 4 times in the second half. Fumble, touchdown, punt, and then they gave it up on downs, and that was it. That was it. I mean, what an ugly day. So I got a question over on the Bud Light live stream that said, so what are your thoughts on going for it on the 4th and goal? No problem with going for it. Here's my question. What in the F are you doing all the time in shotgun? Why? Why do you go? Why not take the snap, either ride and decide, or give your fullback or your running back, if you want to call him that, because A.J. Dillon's built like a fullback, give him a head of steam to get the handoff. Why are you standing 7 yards back in shotgun? This is something that has bothered me, and I've spoke about it for a long time, and I don't get it. You see Brady, you saw Mahomes, you saw Josh Allen, all in the postseason, up at the line of scrimmage, either diving or RPOing, riding the side down the line, something. Rodgers, always in shotgun. Always. Is he afraid to get hit? It's football, for God's sake. Why is it always out of shotgun? I get it that you want to oversee things, but is that 7-yard difference, is it that big to where if you're up at the line of scrimmage and you take a snap under center, you can't see anything? No longer you're in the matrix. You're just some dude standing out there on a street corner waiting for the bus to hit you. That's the only thing that bothers me, because it's all the time. And when it doesn't work, it just looks ugly. Just looks ugly. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. We're going to get to everybody, okay? We're going to get to everybody. When we come back, we're going to find out what Aaron Rodgers talked about, if anything, to Za'Darius Smith. We're going to get his comments coming up after this as well. Stay tuned. We are broadcasting live. We are in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's where we're hanging out today. And we're here, obviously, for the Green Bay Packers, staying at the Hewing Hotel. They're kind enough to set us up in the studio. Big, beautiful place here that we're staying in. So thanks to them for being a part of the program as well. We got a lot more. The Green and Gold Postgame Show, brought to you by Bud Light, right after this.
This is the Green and Gold Postgame Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Bill Michaels Show and the Bill Michaels Huddle. I should say the Huddle, the Green and Gold Postgame Show. I got to get my show straight. Green and Gold Postgame Show. We're broadcasting live here at the Ewing Hotel and hanging out. So this is where a great place to stay if you're ever coming to the Minneapolis area. I can't say enough about the service, the hospitality, and the rooms themselves are absolutely fantastic. And they're kind enough to accommodate us here, and we say thanks to them. In the meantime, the Green Bay Packers knocked off in the opener in the start of the 2022-23 season in ugly fashion, and they didn't have much of an answer for anything. The defense held its own for a while, and then finally just, with the offense not being able to do a damn thing, and injuries starting to mount, the Green Bay Packers defensively started to succumb. In the meantime, the offense was anemic. 23-7, they put up 7. They got that long drive and that touchdown in the third quarter, but the rest of it was nothing to write home about by any stretch of the imagination. Aaron Rodgers, a unbelievably pedestrian day, 22 of 34, 195 yards, sacked 4 times today. 4. Threw 1 pick, no touchdowns, 67.6 quarterback rating today. Jordan Love played better than he did. 4 of 5, 65 yards, and a 118.8 quarterback rating. Meanwhile, Kirk Cousins today, man, he picked up where he left off last year. 23 of 32, 277 yards, sacked only once. That was the Rashawn Gary sack early on in the ball game. A couple of touchdowns to Justin Jefferson, and a 118.9 quarterback rating. So there you go. that's the way things turned out statistically. Speaking of the quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers at the podium. Take a listen.
They're willing for you to make big plays. I mean, is there specific something? Because
Well, there's some execution issues for sure that didn't allow us. The pick was a real dumb decision by me, but the play was a good play, and we totally blocked it wrong. We're supposed to block a certain way. Z came basically untouched, and the back had to block him. I had to roll to the left. I guess that was a fumble. But just stuff like that, where we have a down the field shot. If we just block it away, we know we're supposed to block it. There's going to be an opportunity to take a shot down the field. We don't. I got to move. I should throw it away. I don't. I fumble, take the ball back, get 3 points. So that's one example. There were probably 3 or 4 others.
What did you think of the performance of the former teammates, Darius?
I don't really have any comment on Darius.
so on that goal line one, is that an option for you to take it in, or would you just have to see
play
it?
call? Just whatever. Just wing it there. Trust it.
You said you had patience with the young guys, the young receivers. Is that easier said than done now that games are starting to count, or do you still know there's going to be some growing pains?
I mean, he knew it was going to be growing pains. This is the real football. It counts. It's different. There's nerves. I thought Christian ran a great route to start the game. We talked about it during the week. Do you really want to start off with a bomb shot? I said, yeah, what the hell? Why not? This kid can really fly. Let's give him a chance. I was teasing Patrick after the game that we got him. He said, yeah, I wasn't quite warmed up yet, but we got to make those plays. But those are going to happen. It's the mental mistakes that we really got to clean up, and there was too many across the board.
Majority of, obviously Fox ices you a few times on the sideline. You looked a little frustrated. Was it the mistakes? Is that the main thing that at that point that really bothered you?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously it'd be great to have a 75-yard touchdown to start the game, but drops are going to happen. It's part of the game. It's the mental stuff that we just can't have because we're hurting ourselves, whether we're going the wrong way on a block or missing a protection, something, or missing a hot, or not running the right route, the right depth. There was just too many mental mistakes.
Why is that, Aaron? I get the rookies because they're newish, so maybe they get a little bit of a break there. But when the old line has played some, is that just week one jitters that you get out of the way and you think you'll be okay? I guess what is this?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure, Bill. I wish I had the answer there. It's different when it's real, I guess. I know for me, it feels different, and the urgency goes up. But hey, love to be sitting here with very few mental mistakes in the first game, because then that eliminates you guys the opportunity to write about playing in the preseason or any of that stuff. But the truth is, I mean, we're professionals, so there's an expectation of performance, and it starts with preparation. And there was just too many preparation issues. It was surprising.
On the fourth down, from the one, when the Vikings called timeout, what was the discussion about what you guys were going to run and how confident were you in that play going into it?
Yeah, I mean, I like the play call. There was one of two plays that we liked, and we're kind of going back and forth. We thought they might play some sort of pressure there, and they didn't. They just closed on the backside pretty hard. But again, I should have just pulled it. Would have walked in.
What do you see from Christian after that play? How did you respond to that?
I mean, he had a couple catches, I believe, right? Look, we got to have patience with those guys. They're young. They haven't been in the fire. Now that patience will be thinner as the season goes on, but the expectation will be high. So we'll keep them accountable, but it's going to happen. It's going to be drops. Hate to see it on the first play, but it's part of it. It's going to be drops throughout the season.
So, Aaron, who was that one play? I'm not trying to put it on him. I'm trying to understand some of the issues you had where Dobbs broke inside, and I think he threw it outside.
I just threw that. I threw that one away. I was about to throw it. I saw 22 just flying on my eyes. they're playing inside leverage on Kabi. It was kind of a strange alignment there. I felt like it wasn't there, so I was throwing it behind him.
There was one scramble drill. I think maybe did you want him to come back, and is that just experience on his part?
I don't know if it was him on that one. I felt like there were two guys in the middle of the field, and they both kind of did the opposite of what I was hoping they were going to do. Like they both kind of stopped instead of one stopping and the other one keep going. That's heat of the battle stuff. Again, that situation, maybe I just throw it up to the middle there and hope somebody catches it. But, we'll learn from this. It sucks. But it's the NFL. We got to come back next week, put it all together, clean it up, hope to get a couple guys back, and, see where Dave's at, see where Eldon's at, see where Allen's at, hopefully get those guys back, see how we come out, John and everybody else that got hurt. And there's a few guys, so mostly on defense, I think. But yeah, we got to get some guys back on offense and get this thing going in the right direction.
And what's the balance between getting 33 more involved, but then also you have two rookies, a tight end who hasn't played since week 8 last year, Sammy who's never caught a pass from you in a real game, getting them involved too to kind of get their feet wet in this offense?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did one of those early in the game to Sammy, just when I maybe could have handed it off, although when I look back at the picture, it was probably the right decision, but I just kind of wanted to get the ball in Sammy's hands, get him a catch. We got to be able to throw the ball outside the numbers, and a lot of the plan this game seemed to be inside the number stuff. So Sammy didn't have a lot of opportunities, but we got to find a way to get him involved because he's been playing great, he's been practicing great. So we'll get him involved. I'm not worried about that. But like I said, there's too many mental mistakes, missed some throws, can't turn the ball over, and then we had chances to be right in the game. With that last drive being a game-winning field goal, not a fourth down 16.
You get what you wanted out of Dillon and Jones together because it seems like you got them matched up inside linebacker.
I feel like we had some good positive plays in that. There's more, definitely a lot more, and I'm sure we'll keep adding to the list. But that was a good start for us with those two guys. They just, you see them. They with the ball in their hand, they're dangerous and different types of players. But we got to keep getting them touches and early touches too, probably.
Jim Warford, you knew what the refs started when you build off of the day.
Build off? Some young guys played their first game. Bobby came back from his injury. Those are positives. A lot to clean up.
Is it hard to play quarterback when you're kind of unsettled back there?
No. Shit, I've been unsettled for a long time. A lot of different games. I felt like overall the protection was pretty good. We had a couple that were probably on the line and a couple that I probably could have dished. But we'll clean it up. It sucks. It's a tough feeling, but they're a good team for sure. They're not they're not going to be a 3 or 4 win team. That's going to be a team that we're going to be contending with in this division, and we got to turn around, head home Sunday Night Football against a 1-0 team. It's probably riding pretty high. We got to have a better performance.
There you go, Aaron Rodgers after the game, and I noticed a lot of you kind of criticizing, saying, "Yep, same old Aaron." Not taking responsibility, not talking about himself, just pointing the blame, pointing the finger, drops, blocking assignments. It's all true. It's all true. He's not telling you anything that's not true. What he did say was on that 4th and 1, he probably should have pulled it. That's on him. When he saw the collapse on the on the defensive front, he probably should have pulled it, and he said he could have walked right in. He didn't do it. So he shared a little bit of the blame there. But an interesting side note, Matt Schneidman says that when they approached Jair Alexander after the game, him and Rob Demoski of ESPN, he talked about the coaches not having him follow Justin Jefferson. He said, quote, "All week I was asking for that matchup, but it ain't about me. It's about the team. It ain't about me. If it was my way, you know what I would be doing." So in other words, he begged the coaches, let me cover Justin Jefferson. Let me just have him and everybody else, and they wouldn't do it. So now you have to go to the coaching staff. Now you have to go and you have to go over to Joe Barry, and you got to say, what are you thinking? This guy saw it. He saw the talent. He knew Justin Jefferson's talents. He knew that he was the guy that should be covering him. Why did you not play him via man? Why didn't you do that? Going to be interesting. We got a lot of people over on the Bud Light live stream. Comments still just flying in. And he also talked a little bit, Lance, you're right, about how he said he missed some throws as well. And again, like he said, he kind of smirked. He said, well, that'll give you guys something to write about if we ever get a win. That way you don't have to blame us for not playing in the preseason. That's got to come up. You know, okay. You take it easy. You kind of go through training camp. You hate to practice against other teams. You like certain things about practices, and you still come out in week one and get you have scored 10 points in 2 years in week one. The high-powered offense, the almighty God that is, the one that walks on water as a quarterback. You've scored 10 points in 2 years in week one. So you can pontificate about all the different things that you should do and shouldn't do and what you do and don't like. The bottom line is the results, they suck. More of the Green and Gold postgame show right after this.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Broadcasting live, Packers fans streaming down the street. A lot of Packers fans in town for this one. 23-7 in the final as the Minnesota Vikings, they knock off the Green Bay Packers over at US Bank Stadium in just an ugly game. It was just, it's kind of the way their season ended. It was just somewhat emotionless. There was a few guys that played hard. It just didn't look together. It didn't look energized. It didn't look up. For lack of a better term, I don't know what else to say about it. But that being said, we now go back into US Bank Stadium. Our guy Mike Clemens is now standing by. And Michael, so give me the sense, the tenor of what it is right now inside that Packers locker room.
I think the Minnesota Vikings made a good hire at head coach. They got a guy that was the offensive coordinator for the Super Bowl team for the Los Angeles Rams and won it with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and that gang. But in the meantime, he schemed his way to win a Lombardi trophy when it counted. And so this Kevin O'Connell came in playing, coaching loose. And, 8 years of here for Mike Zimmer, and it got to be toward the end where there's almost a paranoia about Aaron Rodgers that he's, somehow he's gonna kill you. And so they start throttling back and they don't blitz him because they're concerned that if they blitz him, that so many times before he got torched. Today was different because Aaron Rodgers did not have a Davante Adams or a guy that you could respond with. And, when you start out the game and put the game in the hands of the rookie who drops a 75-yard touchdown pass like Christian Watson did, and then you can't get other guys going, and then they just blitz them. They don't do that all the time. But when you sack Aaron Rodgers 4 times, when you force a fumble, when you get him under pressure and he throws a rare pick. He hadn't thrown a pick, I think, on the road in a division game for a couple of years. The Vikings set the tone in the first half. They pretty much won the game in the first half, with that 17-0 lead, Bill.
So let's start with Aaron Rodgers because he had said that he missed some throws. Obviously, there were their drops. There were blocking assignments. He said he was really surprised, and I thought it was interesting. He said, I was surprised by the lack of mental preparation. And that kind of stuck out to me. The mental mistakes more than anything. He said drops will happen. That's fine. But it was the mental preparation that bothers him, right?
Well, then he must be referring then to things that guys were not doing pre-snap and adjustments that they weren't making. And that's his code for saying, these guys should have changed their route given what the defense was showing us. And I think another thing could be in terms of his pass protection. And how Zadarius, was able to get in, and Danielle Hunter gets his sack later on. Some of the big plays that they made over the middle as well. And who's to say that, maybe there's just some of the plays that were called that didn't work out for him. But defensively for the Packers, they just, how can Justin Jefferson go for 164 yards in the first half, 2 touchdowns? He would have had a third. He just missed by inches in the back of the end zone with Amos covering him. The Packers only had 100 yards as a team in the first half. So, that Vikings offense was able to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field as well, the way they marched up and down the field. I think Kirk Cousins looked the best he could possibly be. I think he's got a coach now that has given him a clean slate, that it makes him feel more relaxed. And how about that shift in the game where it's Justin Jefferson for the passing game, and then when the Packers finally get around to starting to put Jair Alexander up on him and shift that zone defense that clearly wasn't working in the first half, then he starts finding Adam Thielen to keep the ball rolling. So we just got done, Bill, talking to the Packers secondary. We talked to Eric Stokes. He's in his second year. He's like, this could be like last year too, okay? Hey, we had a bad game against the Saints, and then what do we do for the rest of the season, the next 16 games? So I feel confident we can change this around. And then you got a lot of, I got to look at the film.
Right.
Jair Alexander, as you mentioned earlier, had that quote to ESPN saying, during this week, I didn't understand why we were going for a game plan where I wasn't on number 18 on Jefferson. But, we were sticking with this zone plan. And Bill, you and I were talking about this at halftime. It was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous how wide open Jefferson was.
Right.
And regardless of his speed or his ability to run a route, anybody could have run those routes. It was inconceivable on how wide open he got, except for the fact that, Ed Donatell and Kevin O'Connell, he knows this offense. And he knows where the openings are, and he obviously figured out Joe Barry's tendencies from last year and saw what huge opportunities they had for Justin Jefferson until the Packers had to finally adjust at halftime.
So let's start, Mike, in the trenches, because obviously missing Bakhtiari, missing Elton Jenkins. We can say missing Bakhtiari, but he didn't play last year, so I don't think he can really use as an excuse. And Josh Nijman got a ton of playing time over there at left tackle. The offensive line didn't look good. They didn't play well. Jake Hansen got his ass handed to him pretty much all afternoon.
Yeah, and I thought that they lost some battles. Up front, this Harrison Phillips, 97, the nose tackle. I think that kid had a good game for the Vikings as well. He was in there. The way Zadarius got in there, Jordan Hicks, at the outside linebacker, he made some plays. Eric Kendricks has been here 8 years. He's the veteran. And like I say, Bill, though, they got the green light. Mike Zimmer was thinking more like, just contain Aaron Rodgers, but, don't go after the pressure. Well, they hit Aaron Rodgers. They hit him whenever they could. They went after the quarterback and rattled him. And there was a period there in the third quarter where I didn't think Aaron Rodgers looked right, and with all the handoffs that he was having, I think, they knocked him. Well, and you could see that he was being tended to on the bench. They were working on his neck and that kind of situation. So, there was a change in that psychology. And when you talk to Adrian Amos, the safety, he said, look, one of us was missing on some of these assignments. He says, I'll give it up on the two deep ones that were on me. And I think that meant the 64-yarder was a big gain, and one of the touchdowns that Jefferson had, Adrian Amos put on him. But that's because he had them, one-on-one and in space, that kind of thing. But there's, this is going to be a game of Clue this week, like the old board game Clue, like, who are the three suspects and in what room and what was the weapon they used. I think, Darnell Savage did not want to talk today. I don't know if it's someone they're going to put this on Eric Stokes or if they're going to put it on Rasul Douglas. But maybe it was his responsibility to cover certain zones in a new role as the nickel guy, and maybe they took advantage of him today.
I guess the positive was no major special teams gaffes, right?
Yeah, but frankly, I thought the punt protection team stunk.
Yeah.
I think there was 2 times
almost got
that
blocked.
The new punter, punted down, almost got blocked. It's amazing. I think he did a hell of a job of getting off that ball on 2 particular punts that I can think of. They didn't get much going for a return today. The kicker, that Greg Joseph, he was good for field goals. He kicked a career, that 56-yarder, that's the longest he's kicked in his career.
Mike, I was watching him. I was watching him in warm-ups, and he was kicking them from 60 like it was nothing. So when they went for 56, I tweeted it out before he kicked it. I said, this guy's been kicking 60 all day. This is good.
Vikings are a team that, like, a couple of others we can think of, that have churned through place kickers, so it looks like they've found one. And then, And then as the injuries start working on it, I mean, the Vikings offense came on and ran right at number 7, right at Quay Walker. And how in the hell they got either running plays directed to Quay Walker, the new rookie inside linebacker from Georgia, the first pick with Dalvin Cook, how they managed to get matchups where Justin Jefferson would motion back and forth, and he'd find this little slot and say, okay, where's the inside linebacker going to line up? I mean, obviously, they put Joe Barry's defense up and said, sometimes if you can spread them out, you can get their inside linebacker to line up in the slot. That's a matchup we like. Mm-hmm. So, Justin, move around until you can see that you can get that inside linebacker. Well, he had the rookie covering him, and, that's a first down every time that they had that matchup. Now, by halftime, Quay Walker led the team in tackles. Why? Because the Vikings kept running at the rookie,
right.
But it's not as if the Joe Barry was making any kinds of adjustments. And then there was one time where he tried to hit Dalvin Cook over the middle and, got clobbered and had to go into the tent and left the game with a shoulder injury. John Runyon, the left guard, that didn't help your running game in the second half when he left the game with a concussion. So they put in the rookie Zach Tom at that position. Josh Nijman started losing some of those battles on the outside at left tackle with pass protection and some of the run plays that they needed. The 4th and 1 stop, with A.J. Dillon with the the ball in his hands, that was just frankly, embarrassing that you clocked that much of it and couldn't come away with a score or a touchdown on that. As you mentioned, too, Keyshawn Nixon had the special teams guy left the game with a shoulder injury as well. And then Chris Barnes, your backup linebacker to Quay Walker, he gets carted off the field. Doesn't look good at all with the foot in a boot.
Right.
That could be season ending.
Hey, Mike, real quick, when we were talking about that 4th down, 4th and goal, you and I looked at each other. People are asking me today, I have no idea why they're running out of shotgun. Why they don't do an RPO, they don't do a ride in the side, they don't get a head of steam for A.J. Dillon coming forward to hand him the football before. Is there any explanation as to why they're always in shotgun?
I think it's an Aaron Rodgers thing. Man. I think if it was Jordan Love, he would be under center, and they would be running that misdirection. They ran some of that misdirection when their opening offense wasn't working, when they, just seemed to close, like some sort of a tropical plant after that drop from Christian Watson, and they just, were sort of lost those first couple of series. They did some of that misdirection and inside handoff, but why later in the game, why it's just all shotgun. And all I can say is, like we talked about during the game, when they also do that in these noisy stadiums, whether at Vikings or some of these other domes, I think it also goes to the fact that if there's silent count, then what's the point?
Right.
They're just going to be in the back there, and he's already going to have the drop, and he can see the field better. So that's probably what Aaron Rodgers' argument is on that issue.
Good stuff as always, Mike. I appreciate it. We'll talk again tomorrow, okay?
Thank you, Billy.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon. There you go. Mike Clemens over at U.S. Bank Stadium, just coming out of the Packers locker room and getting some of the insight as to what was actually being thought there today. And a lot of the stuff that you and I have discussed is some of the same stuff that they're discussing going, got to look at the film. We don't know. But we do know that Jair Alexander went to the coaching staff and said, I want to be on Justin Jefferson one-on-one. I should have him. And they said no. And it has come back to bite them in a huge way. And now they have some splaining to do. Stay tuned. Final segment. Green and Gold postgame show. We're broadcasting live here in Minneapolis, Minnesota at the Ewing Hotel. Packers end up getting beat today, and it was in a kind of an ugly fashion, 23-7 by the Minnesota Vikings. They go to 0-1, then they got the Bears next Sunday night. The Bears victorious today. We'll talk a little bit about the rest of the NFL when we come back right after this.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Welcome back. Green and Gold postgame show live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. You are, I feel like Brett Musburger. You are looking live at the building next to the strip club, which is called The Office. It's a pub and grill right across the street from the hotel here in the Hewing. And the Hewing Hotel is where our destination is at the moment. We are bringing you the Green and Gold postgame show live from what is considered to be the boardroom here at the Hewing. And glad to have you on board tonight. I wish we were talking on better circumstances. Around the rest of the National Football League, obviously it got started in a magnanimous way on Thursday night when the Bills just blew out the Rams, dominated. Saints get a win today by a point over the Falcons, by a point, 27-26. The Browns in that game, I really thought that you would see Baker Mayfield come out and set the world on fire. And 26-24 the final, not in favor of Baker Mayfield. Although he was 16 of 27, 235 yards, a touchdown, and an interception on the day. That's the way things went down. The Bears in a swamp, 19-10, they get the win. How about the Bengals? Jackpot Joey comes out, throws not one, not two, but 3 picks early, then a 4th one later in the game. 4 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, throws 33 of 53, 338 yards, sacked 7 times. That offensive line that was supposedly remade after the Super Bowl sucked. And in the meantime, Mitch Trubisky, he goes 21 of 38, 194, throws a touchdown, quarterback rating of 78.2. And in overtime, Pittsburgh gets the win 23-20. A good game. The Eagles end up on top 38-35 over in Detroit. And the Colts and the Texans ended up tying on the opener, 20 apiece. Dolphins get a win over the Patriots. How about this? Tua in the gang, 20-7. They knock off Bill Belichick. Tua has never lost to the Patriots. Mac Jones, 21 of 30, 213 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Tua, 23 of 33, a touchdown, quarterback rating of 104.4, and Tyreek Hill, 8 catches, 94 yards, but it was Waddle, 4 catches, had the touchdown in the passing game there as well. In the meantime, you also had the Jets getting drilled by the Ravens 24-9, the Commanders over the Jaguars 28-22, the Chiefs, they down the Cardinals, almost more than doubled them up, 44-21, 24-19, the Chargers knock off the Raiders. Devontae Adams, nice day, but it was all for a loss. And then you've got the Titans and the Giants. They played as well, 21-20. The Giants get the win. Packers, as we all know, take the loss, 23-7. And you've also got the Buccaneers right now, 6-3 over the Cowboys. That is in Dallas. So that's it. Other than a lot of the comments going over in the Bud Light live, man, thanks so much. Thanks so much for paying attention to us on the Bud Light live stream. This is Peter says, thinking maybe the King of the North won't be a sure thing for the Green Bay Packers. Dave says, hey, Bill, I'm heading to Cincinnati in a couple of weeks to see the Brewers. Where should I stay? Embassy Suites across the river. It overlooks the city of Cincinnati. You can walk right across the walking bridge, get right over to Great American Ballpark. You're good to go. And must see in Cincinnati, Fountain Square, Union Terminal, Newport, you got the aquarium. Stop over to Montgomery Inn, get the ribs right there on the water in the boathouse, or make sure you hit Skyline Chili as well. So there you have it. There you go. So that's kind of it. Anything else, Ben? By the way,
no,
I took a loss. I got the win in the Bills game. I took a loss in the 49ers game, and I took a loss in the Saints game in the betting line. You and I are 1-2 on the season each.
Yeah, hot start. Fun NFL week, though. A lot of craziness in the early window. I think you and I are both set out to create generational wealth for the people if they bet against everything we think.
I will say this. Tomorrow's going to be interesting. The Packers lose, and we will get to the discussion of what happened. What in the hell happened to Camp Randall as Washington State knocks off the Badgers? I was stunned. And the screams last night, screams for Paul Chryst's head. Oh, my God, it was deafening as I stopped by, and we went to Saturday Night Lights, if you will. Chris and son had a football game out in Grafton last night under the lights, so we went out, we watched that, grabbed one beer on the way home. I was sitting in the social house, grabbed a beer, and people around us were just screaming about the Badgers. Oh, my God. So we'll get into that tomorrow as well. For everybody involved with the program, for Mike Clemens over inside U.S. Bank Stadium, Ben Kenny producing the program. Appreciate it as always. And one more time before a paid attendance of 65,786 at U.S. Bank Stadium. It was the Green Bay Packers taking it on the chin. It was the Vikings 23 and the Packers 7. Everybody have a good night, and we will talk again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll welcome into Green Bay tomorrow. Can't wait.